to Down and Dirty. I'm Larry, and today we are changing out the Hydro Boost on my 2006 Chevy Duramax. Been having issues with steering while braking in tight situations like a parking lot. So we're going to change out this Hydro Boost, and that should take care of our issues. Got close to 100,000 miles on this truck, so we're going to change the Hydro Boost and flush out all the fluids for the power steering and the power brakes. All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to get started here. Just going to unbolt the master cylinder from the Hydro Boost. We're not going to take the brake lines off. We got enough room. We can just finagle this out of the way. This is the Hydro Boost here. Get this pulled out from the firewall. So we've got two rigid lines and one just a hose return line that also have to be disconnected from the Hydro Boost. But first we got to get these two nuts off, one on each side, holding the master cylinder on. A 15mm socket on here. Make sure not to lose your nut down there. Might be very difficult to find. Again, make sure you hang on to that nut. So if you drop it down in there and it doesn't make it to the floor, have fun finding it. Okay, I got the nuts off the master cylinder. We pulled it back out of our way, for the most part, where it'll be out of our way. I got to break loose these two lines. You want to make sure you use the proper wrench for that, because you can damage these. They're a flare nut, and you need to use this to loosen or tighten these. Now once you loosen them, you can use an open-end wrench on these to finish getting them out if you need to, because it's kind of complicated to do it with these. But you definitely want to make sure you use these to break them loose and to tighten them down so you don't damage that flare nut. Okay, we got to get this clamp off of there, that hose. Let's use a pair of needle nose, squeeze this clamp. Get pulled back, smooth that hose off. And this is just the return line back to the power steering pump. These lines off. So we got that. There's a O-ring also on the larger line. We'll make sure that you don't lose that one either. But I saw the small line as I was pulling it out, the O-ring was slipping off. So I want to keep an eye out for those, and you don't want to lose those down in the frame or anywhere where you're not going to find it as well. Try to get this thing to focus. Put that right there, that metal clip, next to that plastic piece. We got to get that clip off right there. See a little stud sticking out of the back of it. I'll put an arrow on it on the video. But that metal clip, you're gonna have to use a screwdriver or a pick or something, and you need to pry it out so you can slide it over the stud, and it has like a key slot hole. It'll pop right off. And then the brake switch there, right here with the wires on it, will have to come off of that stud as well, and then the brake pedal will be free for that rod right there is what goes out to our power boost. And you can see those nuts recessed on the studs. 4 of them, 2 up top, 2 down here, kind of angled from each other. We gotta get those 4 nuts off. And then the Hydro Boost will slide right out, and that rod has to go with it. So that's why we have to disconnect it from the brake pedal. So that's what we're gonna do next. And maybe a little difficult for me to have a camera in here. Okay, so here's this clip. You gotta get in behind here and pry out, because that stud, and I'll show it, showed it in the video, that stud is right in here. So you have to get this part of the clip pried out. So once you get that pried out, you want to push the clip up, because you'll see where the hole is larger towards the bottom of the clip from where I'm holding it, and it's smaller up top. The smaller part up top is where it's locked onto the stud. From that spring-loaded finger, you can see right there behind it. That's the one you got to pry out. Once you pry it out, you can push the clip up to the larger part of the hole, and it pops right off. Okay, so I got all 4 nuts off. See that one back there? That's about, I think, the hardest one to get to. I don't know. Push them up top. So these two here, you want to kind of move this pedal up out of your way to get past this brace. You have this brace here holding the dash, I guess it is, and your brake pedal, and you got to go in between there with an extension. So these two out here aren't bad to get to. It's two in behind the brake pedal with that brace there. So you got to have long extensions. Show you what I used. So this is what I used to get in there. I've got two extensions together with a swivel and a 15 millimeter deep well socket on an air ratchet. Especially those two where you have to get your extension in between the brake pedal and that brace. So that's the best setup I could find. It's the air ratchet's actually right out in front of you. All right, let's see if I can get this thing out of here. It's loose. I tugged on it once, but definitely fits tight in those holes, and the threads hang up really bad. Got a grip on it here. Caught on that small line. All right. Okay, so we got our new Hydroboost replacement here. This thing's stuck in the hole. Snaggle everything around in the hole. Caught on the other one. So there it is. Go around inside and get the nuts put on. Not focusing real well, but we'll get them nuts put on. We'll get our shaft back on the pedal there with a brake switch, which I have completely removed at the moment. Alright, this isn't going to focus the best, it don't look like, but you can see I got the switch on there. There, maybe that's a little bit better. You can see the switch. You can see that groove up there. I'll point an arrow at it. Well, this clip goes back. Okay, I got the switch back on the pedal. Here's our clip we're going to put back on. What you do is you insert it, larger part of the keyhole there, put it on the stud, push it inward, because you have to push that little tab right there with the hook on it. Push it in and then push it up. So the smaller part of this keyhole slot goes up into that groove, and then the hook right there is going to hook on top of the stud. Okay, there's our clip back on. Like I said, I just pushed it in towards the brake pedal and then up towards the dash, and I heard it click, and just wiggle it around, try pulling it down, make sure it's latched in. Okay, we're going to get all of our lines put back on. We'll pull off these little protective covers here. This right here is your return line, just clamped on hose. We're not going to hook that up right away. Pull that cap out there for your pressure line. Cap back here for your other pressure line. We're going to get these pressure lines back in. Our return line, I've got, I went to Lowe's and I bought some clear 3/8 ID, just poly hose. We're going to hook it up here because when we start this up, we want to flush out all the old fluid. So we're going to have a hose hooked up here going to a drain pan, and we'll start it up and apply brakes, turn steering, and at the same time keep our reservoir here full. You don't want it to go empty. It's bad for that pump to not have any fluid in it. And actually I have a syringe set up that I'm going to use. I'll show you here real quick. I'm going to use to suck all the old oil out of that first. So we start off with fresh oil in the reservoir. So here's the syringe I'm going to use to suck oil out of the reservoir. I actually have a piece of hose we'll stick on the end of that. We'll use this to suck all the old oil out of the reservoir, put fresh oil in the reservoir, so when we start it up, we're starting off with fresh fluid going through the system into the new Hydroboost and everything. So, all right, I'm gonna get these lines back on. Maybe stretch here. wiggle them around. We're trying to get them in to go. Get that one. I did put some new O-rings on. And exactly tell you what size they are. Snug it up with open end wrench, and then put our flare nut wrench on here. I actually just have O-ring assortment that isn't actually labeled, so figure out what that was exactly. I can tell you what they were. I just matched them up to what I took off. Like I say, my assortment isn't actually labeled very well. I just found one that matched up. Alright, okay. I want to use the correct wrench to tighten it up. One is 18 millimeter on here, the other one is 16 millimeter. So you gotta have a metric set. Alright, we got our nuts back on our master cylinder here. Might help a little bit with the master cylinder hooked up. Alright, I'm going to drain this reservoir. My syringe here with a hose on it. Oh, it's probably a little long, but couldn't find the one I was actually looking for. I'm going to trim this, we'll see. Look at that. Suck it right on up out of there. Alright, looks like we got it all. Just sucking air now. So we're done with this part. We'll fill it up with fresh fluid. Alright, I'm going to put our drain hose on. Flush hose. Alright, and our flush hose put on here. I'm going to just put a regular hose clamp on this. To make sure it doesn't come off. Make a mess. That would be bad. Alright, got that on. Alright, we got our flush hose set up here. It's going down here into a drain pan. Got clear, like I said, it's just clear. I think it's a poly hose. I got it at Lowe's. 3/8 ID. Put a hose clamp on it to make sure it doesn't come off, but so I get some fluid in the reservoir and we'll get it started up here and start flushing this out. Alright, this is what we're putting in it. I'd say either this or GM power steering fluid. They do say not to use automatic transmission fluid in this system. Okay, I filled it up all the way to the top. Not going by the line right now. We fill it all the way up to the top so we can flush this out. Alright, let's start the truck up. Okay, we're all done. I cut this off while I was flushing it out, so you didn't have to just keep watching fluid going through the hose, but you could see it changing color to the point of what is in this hose now is the color of the fluid coming out of the bottle. And it took about 3 quarts to get there. And I was turning the steering back and forth while slowly pushing on the brake. And you could see a lot of discoloration coming out while I was turning the steering. And I did that about, I'd say 3 times each direction, lock to lock, while pushing the brake. So it's one of the reasons why I went through a lot of fluid. So we're gonna call it good. I got the reservoir topped off, and I'm gonna get this hose pulled off of here and get the factory return line put back on, and we're done. Okay, so that wraps it up, changing the Hydro Boost on the 2006 Chevy Duramax. I think everything went pretty good. About the hardest part of it is getting the nuts under the dash, getting them back on. It's kind of a pain, but other than that, it went pretty good. You know, we flushed out the fluids, got fresh, clean fluid in there now, got rid of that dirty, nasty, smelly stuff that was in it. And you know, 100,000 miles it was due, so haven't driven it yet. We're going to do that next. I got a couple more things I want to do while it's still sitting here in the shop. So, all right, thank you all for coming. Appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share, comment below. Ring the little bell, notification of new videos coming up. Take care.